Now, the Chazon Ish over the last several months has taught us that the power of a human being is literally in his hands and how he controls his emotions, how he uses his intellect versus his imagination. If a person uses his imagination, he's doomed to go to Gehenom simply because if his imagination controls his life, then he's only going to imagine all of the sins and how good they taste and how beautiful they are and so on and so forth. But if he knows how to use his imagination, or she knows how to use our imagination when appropriate, after evaluating it with their intellect, then they could be a very righteous person and they could enjoy the mitzvot, they could enjoy life, they could enjoy Olam Haba. And now he continues, still in the first chapter, in the 14th section, and he gives over a secret that perhaps we think we heard of, but not as deep as what he's saying. Chazon Ish says, two powers were created in man. The power to love and the power to hate. A person can never relate to his fellow man through both of them at once. In so many words, he's saying here that there are two forces that each and every human being has that in essence dictate his life, which move he's going to make, which relationship he will begin, which relationship she will end, all of the different things that he will do. It's love and hate. But a person needs to know that you can never relate, one individual person cannot relate to another individual person with both of those feelings simultaneously. You know, the statement, we have a love-hate relationship is an oxymoron, but it's also wrong. Aside from being oxymoron, it's also moronic. Why? Because you cannot relate to a person telling them that I love you while you slap them in the face. If every morning you tell your wife, honey, I love you, trach, the next morning she's going to say, honey, hate me, please hate me, please hate me. So love-hate relationship is really trying to tell us that I love you, but I don't know how to get along with you. That's what it means. I love her, but I don't know how to get along with her. The question is why? If you love them, why don't you know how to get along with them? If you love Klal Israel, many of us, we hear Jewish people in the process of conversion, or people are watching all over the world, thousands and thousands of people, we love Am Yisrael, we love Torah, but we constantly have problems. Why? So you're going to say, no, it's since the time of the Bet HaMikdash, it's Sinat Chinam. Okay, what's Sinat Chinam? You just hate each other for no reason? So what, you just look at the guy, oh, he's Jewish? Well, what kind of Jew are you? Yemenite, hate you. What did he do to you? Nothing, I just don't like Yemenites. Okay. What about him? Oh, Ashkenazi, can't stand him. Why not? What happened to him? You said you didn't like that. The Yemenite guy. What's wrong with the Ashkenazi guy? No, I can't stand him. Why? I don't know, I can't stand him. That's Sinat Chinam? No, that's lunacy. That's lunacy. It's not Sinat Chinam. Rabbi Yaron Reuven Shalom explained Sinat Chinam in a very unique way. He said, each one of us, throughout our life, we're going to live in a few different places probably. And once in a while, you're going to live in an apartment. I remember I lived in an apartment in New York City, and interestingly enough, we lived in the corner. So we had no neighbors. Like there was, 5 or 6 apartments in the entire floor. And we had an apartment that's all the way in the corner, meaning we had nothing attached to us. But sometimes you have a house that's the exact opposite, where your house is in between 2 other apartments. So everything that goes on in your house, the whole world knows. The whole world knows. You get out of the house in the morning, good morning, everybody's looking at you. Oh, she didn't sleep last night, huh? How do you know what's going on in my house? Well, I heard it. I heard your kids are jumping off the walls. I couldn't sleep either. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry about that, sir. Sorry about that. The next day, he's like, are you and your wife okay? How do you know? Oh, I heard the fight. Oh, you heard the fight? We're in the other room. No, the other neighbor heard it and he told me. Oh, see, both sides, you can't win. So sometimes you hear your neighbors. And sometimes it's a little annoying. Sometimes they're noisy. Sometimes they're nosy. Sometimes all types of things, right? Now, once in a while it happens that, you have kids, Baruch Hashem. And the kids don't care about neighbors. The kids like to play. They like to do different things. And they cause some noise. And you want to go to sleep. You have an early appointment in the morning. You want to wake up, this, that. And it's, 9, 10 o'clock at night already. They're still playing. They're still causing noise. And you're like, I hate that guy. That guy, I hate him and his kids. No. That's sinat chinam. Why is that sinat chinam? I mean, technically it's normal. You want to go to sleep. He can't control his kids. Pretty normal for you to be upset. Upset, yes. But to hate him? That's sinat chinam. That's extra. That's chinam. That's free. That's extra. That extra hate. To be upset at your neighbor because she's causing noise, to be upset that she's running the laundry at 12 o'clock at night, to be upset that there's something going on next door that you don't really know what it is and it's disrupting you, to be upset, that's normal. If you're not upset, you're not normal, which, hopefully you're not. But to hate them because of it, and all of a sudden you remind yourself, oh no, he's Ashkenazi, that's what Ashkenazim do. Oh, he's Faradi, these people, they're like Arabs, that's what they do. Oh, these guys, Yemen, that's what they do. All of a sudden you start remembering all of the other things. That's chinam. That's free. That's extra hate. That's sinat chinam. That's what Rabbi Yaron says. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Okay, to be upset. Okay, you can tell him the next day, please do me a favor. You're really, we're close to each other. I hear everything that's going on. Maybe you could take the kids to the other room, bother the other neighbor. I'll do something else. I want to go to sleep. But to go hate him, and all of a sudden you remember that he's Faradi, and he's Ashkenazi, and he's like this, and he's that, and he's tall, and he's short. That's chinam. So, Chazon Ish says, if you love each other, really you should get along. So how come we can't get along? You see that, although there's been a lot of problems for Am Yisrael, generally speaking, the more problems we have, the more united we are. Right now, the coronavirus is a little bit of a unusual circumstance. Why? It's the first time we have a problem that's actually causing lack of unity, a disunity. Where you're actually seeing, as I mentioned to you guys a few weeks ago, a bunch of Reshaim trying to play like as if they're tzaddikim by telling on each other to the cops. Oh yeah, in my community in Borough Park, they're not wearing masks. Come on, bring the media, bring the police. It's a odef. That's a person that at the time of Chazal, they'd kill him for doing such a thing. People are telling on each other to the cops, to the so forbidden. You're seeing, instead of this problem that everyone is dealing with to some extent, uniting us, it's actually causing more harm than anything else we've seen in many years. A lot of people are becoming enemies as a result of this coronavirus. A lot of people are becoming ruthless as a result of this. How come? How come we love each other, but we can't get along? Now, the truth is that love comes in a couple of forms. One is in a way that's obvious. You love somebody else. When you love somebody else, that means that you're willing to do something for that somebody else without expecting anything in return. That's love. If you're expecting something in return, that's business. It's not love. Like if I'm only going to buy you a birthday present because you bought me one or you're going to buy me one, that's not love. That's business. It's business. You should both open an LLC for a couple $100, get the tax write-off and call it a day. Or just say, you know what, you don't buy me, I don't buy you. And that's it, we'll call it a day. Which some people do, by the way, which also usually is the step before divorce. So if you're only going to do something because somebody else is doing for you, that's business. That's not love. Love is unconditional. I'm going to do without expecting anything in return. As a side note, that's the reason why most people, they're going to tell you, no, don't do tshuva, don't connect to Hashem out of fear, connect to Him out of love, is completely ridiculous. And in the name of Rabbi Nachman Breslev, 200 years ago, he wrote in Lekutei Maharan himself, he wishes that the righteous in his generation, needless to say much more righteous than anybody else we have in this generation, the righteous in his generation, that tzaddikim in his generation would connect to Hashem through fear. Why? Why would Rabbi Nachman Breslev give a blessing to his own generation to connect to Hashem through fear? He writes, because loving Hashem is not relevant to most people. They can't get there. Because that means you have to serve Hashem unconditionally. What's unconditionally? The Gemara says there's a machloket between two chachamim about whether Job, Iyov, loved Hashem or feared Hashem. When he said the statement, even if he would destroy me, I would still serve him. And Rabbi Eliezer ben Holkano says, yeah, that just means he's afraid of Hashem. He's at the highest level of fear of Hashem. It's great. Alvay alenu, we get to that level. Saying that even if Hashem would destroy me, I'd still serve him. Meaning Hashem says, listen, every mitzvah you're going to do, I want to punish you for it. Would you still do it? You're like, no. Why would I do it? I want something for it. I want a reward. I want olam haba. I want heaven. I want money. I want this. I want that. Oh, okay, so you don't love Hashem. You love yourself. You love yourself. That's normal. But don't say you love Hashem. Job said, even if he were to destroy me, I'd still serve him. Meaning, I'm not looking for any reward. Nothing. Why? Because I know that by serving him, that brings pleasure to Hashem. Whatever that means. Because he's perfect. What's pleasure to him? What's nachat to him? We have no idea. All we know is a king is there to be served. If I were to serve him, that's what I'm fulfilling my role. Even if that serving him would bring me destruction, I'd still do it. And Rabbi Eliezer ben Holkanos, the rabbi of Rabbi Akiva, says even that is still the highest level of fear of Hashem, which is just the beginning of loving Hashem, which is what the other Chacham says. Because this is loving Hashem too. This is the beginning of loving Hashem. So Rabbi Nachman Breslev says, 1,000 years later, 1,500 years after this Gemara was written, saying, I wish that people would connect to Hashem through fear. Why? Because it's not relevant to love Hashem for most people. It's not relevant. They don't know. Why? Most people are selfish. Not necessarily always for a bad reason. They're normal. They love themselves. They want something for what they do. I'm making you coffee, so, to make me feel good too. Not only to make you feel good because it's the morning and good morning coffee, I make me feel good to give you coffee. Because I know that if I give you coffee, if I'm a good wife, if I'm a good husband, if I'm good this, then I know there's going to be something in return. Doesn't make you a bad person to love yourself. Question is, how much do you love yourself? Where do you draw the line? And that's the second type of love. Second type of love is a love that's completely selfish. First one is selfless. Second one is selfish. Meaning, I'm only doing it because I love myself. I care less about you. The fact that you benefit out of what I'm doing really doesn't necessarily motivate me to do it. What motivates me to do it is because I love me. And I'm only doing it because I love me. You benefiting from it, good for you. But if you are going to benefit from it, I'd still do it. That's a dangerous love. And that's a love that can lead to the next war. The Chazon Ish continues, before we elaborate on that point of how it could lead to the next war, saying one of them must come to the fore, meaning the person that has to understand that he can't love and hate a person at the same time. Either loves a person or he loves or hates a person at that moment. Doesn't necessarily, not every feeling is permanent. Says one of these feelings, either love or hate, has to come to the fore, and the other must necessarily be withdrawn for they are two opposites and cannot exist together. The decisions as to which will reign, which will live and which will die, which will move, which will stay still, usually depends on actions, on causes that naturally arouse feelings of love between people, and on causes that arouse hatred. Many times, we don't just wake up loving other people. In fact, most of the time, we don't just love other people until they do something to cause us to love them. Anything in the world that you have, whether it be your job or your marriage or your parenthood or a specific hobby, whatever it may be, you didn't just wake up one day and decide, I love this. Something had to have happened to cause you to pay more attention to the details in this issue and like the results and thereby fall in love with it more and more as you invested more and more time into it. The more you invest into your marriage, the more you will love each other. Now, investing into your marriage doesn't mean that you have to buy your wife a present every Mondays and Thursdays, like Aliyat Torah. It doesn't mean that you have to make your husband a 5-course meal 87 times a day. It doesn't mean that you have to call each other 75 times every minute. No. Investing into your relationship means that you have to think about the other person, your spouse, when you make decisions for yourself. Now, surely, if you're going to make decisions for them, you're going to think about them. So that's a given. But to make that relationship work, you have to think about them when you're making decisions for yourself. Why? How does my decision to go to this place affect her? How does my decision to hang out with her affect him? How would these things affect my loved one? Does it show I love them? Well, he hates my friend, and my friend just asked me to come over for a coffee. I like my friend. She's really funny. I want to go hang out with her. But how would that make my husband feel, who hates her because she did X, Y, and Z for him, bad to him? Now, if you love your husband, guess what? She's not your friend anymore. Bye-bye, friend. Why? That's a reality. You have to decide who's more important, your friend or your husband. If that's even a choice in your head for more than 5 seconds, your relationship is in danger. And I don't mean your friendship in danger. Your marriage is in danger. Why? You don't understand the value of marriage. If your friends are more valuable to you than your wife, there's something wrong in the foundation of that marriage. You don't love each other enough. You don't care enough about each other. Now, that doesn't mean that it's irreparable. You can repair it, you can fix it, but needless to say, it's only going to happen as a result of investing in it. Meaning, putting more time into your decisions and thinking, how would this decision affect them? And that means that you have to do a lot of different things in your life that perhaps may not have been your first choice if you were single, but became your only choice once you got married. That's really the point of being married. That's why in Judaism you sign a ketubah. A ketubah is a contract. It's a contract to have between the man and his wife. The husband is buying the wife. There's no other way to say it. It's not like the Americans or the other goyim or whatever said, no, they got married, we're equal. Married, no, there's no equal. He bought you. If you're not for sale, then pick a different religion. No, I'm not for sale, I have my own opinion. No one said you don't have your own opinion. You have your own opinion. But he bought you. Meaning what? Meaning that what's yours is now his. There is no separate bank accounts. If there's separate bank accounts, that means your hearts are in different places. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. If your vacation doesn't include him, and his vacation doesn't include you, something's wrong. This is not really a Jewish marriage. This is like, it looks Jewish. like kosher light. That's what it is. It's not really a Jewish marriage. What a Jewish marriage means, he bought you. Which means what? Which means that everything is now the household. He's in control of it. You're not allowed to go decide to give your mom $1,000 without asking him for permission. Yeah, but I'm the one that made the money. So, you worked. Good for you. You made the money. Good for you. Did it deposit in the bank? Good for you. Okay, it's his. That's how it works. Halachically. Now, would he reject you giving your mom money? Most likely not, if you have a solid relationship that's healthy, but you still need to ask for permission. Same thing with tzedakah, same thing with everything else. What do you get in return? Ketubah says, one of the main things that you get in return, he has to provide you a roof over your head. He has to buy you clothes. How much? As much as you want, as long as it's within reason and you're not some psychopath that spends your all afternoon every single day of the week in the mall. But he has to buy you clothes. Yeah, but he complains that I have 5 pairs of shoes or 15 pairs of shoes. Well, he shouldn't have signed that ketubah if he didn't want to buy you another 15. How many pairs of shoes? As many as you want. How many bags? As many as you want. How many dresses? As long as they're modest, as many as you want. Why? He signed off on it. What about place to live? He has to provide a house. He has to provide a place to live. What if he's an avrech? He can only be an avrech that's learning Torah if you permit. He can't decide, no honey, I'm going to go study Torah, you go work. He cannot make that decision. Why? Because in the ketubah, he signed off that he's going to provide the roof over your head. So only if you agree to be the one that provides the roof over the head, you go work, does he go to the kollel. But once you make that decision, you say, listen, you go study, I'll go work, we both go to Olam Haba together with the kids. Once you do that, you better stay supportive. Don't say every Tuesday and Wednesday, oh, listen, you're only studying because of me. Don't do a mitzvah like that. Don't do anybody any favors because you're going to go to Gehinnom for it. Don't do something like that. Don't bring him down when he's trying to study because you're making the money. It's not a mitzvah. And that happens, unfortunately. There was a very famous story that Rabbi Nissim again also said that a woman had a near-death experience. Her husband was a avrech in a kollel, and she during one of her labors, she died. And she went up to Shamayim, and they told her, listen, it's time you go. She goes, why? But I have 4 kids. So the Bet Din of Shamayim says, everybody has kids. That's not a reason for us to give you more time to life. Who's going to raise them? Oh, don't worry, Hashem will take care of somebody's going to raise your kids. She goes, but why? But I kept Torah and mitzvot. He said, no, not really. She goes, why? I have kisur rosh. Yeah, you have kisur rosh. But I dress modest. Okay, you dress modest. So why are you killing me? Why is it over? She said, because you made fun of the Torah. She goes, me, chatz v'shalom, I never made fun of the Torah. She said, she starts crying in Shamayim. Starts crying, I never made fun of the Torah, I swear. No, we'll show you. What do they show you? They show her a video of every time her Baal, her husband, came back from kollel, she yelled at him for being late, for being this, for being that, for being a bum. Why? Because she's making the money. And he is going to study as if he's doing nothing. So they counted it as if she's making fun of the Torah. Says, you don't respect your husband. Every time he comes from the kollel, you're supposed to stand. What do? You talk on the phone. You don't respect the Torah. You make fun of the Torah. For that you need a death penalty. She had the merit to say the story. Why? Because she had a very, very righteous grandfather who came to her Bet Din in Shamayim and begged the Bet Din to give her another chance. Under the condition that she'll publicize the story, and she did publicize the story. She told Rav Nissim again, and he publicized it to the world. The point being is that if you're going to make that type of decision, chazakah u'bucha, good for you, but you have to make sure you know what you're doing. Now, the key is that if you're going to love each other, you have to consider each other's wants and needs. And that's some of the things that the ketubah itself discusses. Now, most people don't really read the ketubah or understand it, but believe it or not, the ketubah also says that the third responsibility for the husband is intimacy. Meaning, It's the woman that decides when to be intimate, not the husband. The woman, the wife. Not the husband. Meaning, if he wants to be with the wife, she doesn't want to, doesn't have to. It's not a good idea, but she doesn't have to. But if she wants to, he has to stop everything he's doing and be there. Yeah, but in the middle of doing something. Okay, so you'll be in the middle of doing something after we're finished. Why? That's the contract. That's the contract. Now this may sound weird to some people, but that's the contract. Why? Because our filthy logic thinks, no, it's only the man's needs. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So although he bought you, technically you have control. It's like, a shareholder takeover. You only bought 5% of the company, but he runs the whole thing. So the Chazon Ish says that the reason why you have to understand this part is because one of those feelings of love or hate is going to make the determination of how you act. But when you look deeper into even one of those feelings, hatred obviously is easy to see where that's going to lead. It's not going to lead to any place good. But how could love lead to a war? How could love lead to bad places? Because there's good love, which is selfless, and there's bad love, which is selfish. And if you love yourself just a little bit too much, you can destroy the world with it. You can destroy your marriage, you can destroy the religion, you can destroy a country, you can destroy everything. Some people want to call it ego, some people want to call it selfishness, whatever you want to call it. The root of it is loving yourself too much. What's too much? To the point where you care less about the consequences for everybody else. That's loving yourself too much.